Hey everyone, welcome back to the Scott Stokely podcast episode. I don't remember what episode number. I'm also shooting these out of order. So as soon as I give a number, I'm found that I'm pigeonholing myself into release dates. So let's say this is officially episode number. I have on the show today, boy, I hate labels, and you're gonna have a hard time shaking this one if you're in the sport, but we'll start with a one-armed disc golfer because I don't know anything else about you. And as we learn other things about you, you know, maybe your name will change to the disc golfer that likes asparagus or something. But right now, that's what we know. And by the way, I'm going to be promoting this as the one-armed disc golfer because since I teach so much adaptive disc golf, that is the way people with similar situations will connect and find me on YouTube and find the story. So we're going to have to promote this, but we're promoting it to reach the audience that we're trying to reach. So I have Luke Campbell on the show. Thank you, Luke, for joining me.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. And I hope someday, maybe just the asparagus loving disc golfer. We'll see. But for right now, I'm cool with the one-armed disc golfer.
Okay. Yeah, that's the first thing I was wondering was, if that's annoying to you that you're known as that, like you're a teacher now and you are the one-armed teacher and that's just that's your identity. Is that annoying to you or is that something that's just who you are?
Yeah, that's a really good question. For me, just being born this way, for me, it's always been normal. So from day one, I was the one-armed Campbell in our family, the one-armed baseball player, the one-arm, everything. So moving on to being a one-armed teacher, it just feels right, I guess. But I think once people get used to being around me and things, it kind of fades from their mind and they almost forget. So I would say a lot of the time someone's like, hey man, can you hold this for me? Or, hey, can you tie my shoes? Like my kids come up to me and ask me all the time. I'm like, hey, I'll do it, but you're probably better than me. They'll go, oh yeah, I forgot. So I think I'll always be the one-armed something, but it is what it is. You got to make it work for sure.
Well, and the funny thing I've learned, I've always heard this, but then as I started working and doing adaptive disc golf, it turns out that it's true, is that people with physical, and we already talked about this, we'll call it disabilities. It doesn't seem disabled to me to have one arm. It just seems like you. But people with physical disabilities are never offended at jokes. They're never offended at being asked what happened. It's always the other people who are offended for you. Is that the case with you?
Oh, definitely. Especially just growing up with a sports background. Jokes were not off limits at all. And most of the time I was the one making them. And, I like how you said, at first it's like, oh man, you shouldn't say that about yourself. It's like, what do you mean? I'm allowed to say whatever I want about myself. But yeah, it's jokes are definitely on the table for sure. The other day, actually, I was talking to someone. They made the joke of, I was thinking about taking you to a nail salon because then we could get a pretty good discount. And I was like, I got to use that one more often. But then after they said it, they were like, I'm sorry, man, I had to do it. I was like, no, don't be sorry. Like, go for it. So yeah, I find that is often the case that people care more than I care about it for sure.
Well, the thing about any type of comedy, when you're doing anything that's kind of pushing that line, is if it's a funny joke, you can get away with it. If the joke bombs, kind of like you have to eat it. So the reason I asked is because I wanted to tell you this, and I wanted to tell you on air when it was actually my girlfriend who first came across you. And she said, hey, there's a disc golfer out there with one arm. And my first question was, is it his throwing arm?
Right. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I haven't heard that one yet. That's pretty solid, actually.
Hey, I'm happy. If there's anything you haven't heard, that's a great thing. I'm 6'7", and I've heard most of them. I don't play basketball. The weather up here is the same as it is down there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be new and fresh.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So I wanted to get your story and talk to you about that. I want to get to know you. Part of the podcast, the majority of my podcast is I just want to meet people with stories or who are interesting or people I want to know. And later we're going to talk about, because you created an organization for adaptive sports. You have quite a storied athletic history, but let's start at the beginning. So you were born with one arm.
Yes, sir.
And do you have memories of realizing that other people have two arms and you didn't? Is there or is that so far in the past that it's faded?
No, that's actually a good question. I don't necessarily remember the first time I realized it, but I remember, so my mom has told me the story of when I kind of realized, and I was a little too young to remember, but she said I was playing on the playground one day with, and I'm from a family of 5, so I have tons of siblings, but I was playing on the playground one day and I walked up to my mom and I was like, "Hey mom." And she's just like, "Yeah, what's up, Luke? Um, when am I gonna get my second arm? When is that gonna come?" Like thinking, I guess I thought it was gonna grow in eventually or wake up one day or something. I'm not sure. But my mom was like, she said her heart like dropped and was like, "Oh no, I have to tell him right now that this is like how it's gonna be." And so I guess she says for her it was like very dramatic, very like monumental. She kind of composed herself and was like, "Luke, where this is how we're made. Like God made you this way, and the second arm isn't going to come." And I don't know what she expected, but little Luke just okay and walked. I guess I just bolted away. So for her, she was like, "Oh my gosh!" But I guess for me, it wasn't as big of an ordeal as she thought it was. So I think that was probably one of the first times I realized. But going to school for the first time too was definitely something that I wasn't expecting to be as hard as it was. For growing up, my dad used to come with me first day of school every year, and it was just because I used to be really shy, and it was like, "All right, guys, if you have any questions about Luke, I'll answer them right now." And like my dad would just kind of field those questions, and then everybody got them out on the table first day, and then after that, it was no longer a problem. So, and we did that up until like third grade, and then I was like, "Dad, you don't have to come this year. I think it's okay." But I think that's kind of the first memory and the first time that I kind of realized like, oh, I think I'm a little different than other people.
Gotcha. Well, and kids are mean normally. Like, I mean, if your name even comes close to rhyming with like a potty word, as they would say in elementary school, like
Exactly.
childhood's ruined, especially if you're a boy. Were kids mean, or I mean, did you get that or no?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for like, I can remember one kid that was kind of a pest about it, but for 90% of my life, I think it helped that I played sports as well and was very active and could, do most things. Nobody was ever mean. I think being blunt or being maybe not as sensitive to the situation is kind of how kids handle things. They're just gonna get it right on the table and ask you from the get-go. So I would say like sometimes I would get questions really quickly of like, "Hey, what the heck is going on with you?" Or like, so it seemed like kind of mean, but I started to understand like they're just really curious. So I would never say I got like bullied really bad or anything like that, but I think sports really helped with that situation to kind of understand like, oh, he can do what we can do.
Now, what about your friends though? Because you're a guy, like your friends had nicknames for you and gave you shit all the time, right?
Oh, for sure,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, nicknames. Actually, in college, went all the way through college. Nemo, my lucky fin. We had that one going for a while. I would even wear in the dugout a Nemo kid's bicycle helmet, and so like if I'm sitting on the bench, I would I just kind of accepted it and was like, I'm Nemo, got the lucky fin. And so if I was in the bullpen, I had the bicycle helmet on. It's like Nemo's ready to go if you need me, coach. So, but yeah, that's one that sticks out the most. I can't really think of any other ones, but I mean, yeah, if anybody's gonna give me a hard time, I got it from my friends for sure.
What about girls? And I asked this because I've always wondered something. My favorite book, and this is not something I'm telling you to fit the narrative of this conversation. I've posted publicly many times and I've been on podcasts on this topic. My favorite book ever is called The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. And the lead character in that book has one arm.
Really?
Yes. And it's a sci-fi book. So he also has a whole stack of robotic arms. Some do,
Sounds nice.
anyway, sci-fi, right? But he said, well, some women are put off by it, but it also stimulates a maternal instinct in others. And overall, it's, it works in his favor. Has that been experience, or is that sci-fi?
I don't know. I feel like it does make, I would say, yeah, he actually kind of nailed it some to a T, I feel like some girls are like, yeah, not for me. I don't know. I think I'm out. But I think some girls are kind of intrigued and like, oh, like, what's going on there? Do we need to help him? Like, is something wrong? Is he okay? But yeah, I would say intrigued, and the feeling of like, what's going on over there is kind of actually how me and my fiance, as of right now, met. Or I shouldn't say my fiance as of right now. It sounds like we're gonna break up or something. But my fiance that I met in college, I feel like she's always said like, I was very intrigued by you. Like, you were this guy. Like, I just wanted to meet you. I was just intrigued. I wanted to get to know you. So I feel like you kind of did describe that well. Like, it was just like, wait, what's going on over there? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I was never a big ladies man for sure. I had one girlfriend before my fiance, and then sealed the deal. Knew she was the one.
Nice. All right. So you said you played sports. Not all sports are created equal for somebody with one arm, right?
Yes,
you're now an avid disc golfer, and disc golf doesn't give two shits if you have a second arm. In fact, I teach disc golf, and part of what I teach is getting that second arm out of the way. So, but that's not all sports. What sports did you play, and what were you on the different sports? And then I'm going to ask you if you tried swimming and if you went in circles. Have you heard that one before?
That's a good question. I did. So growing up, my dad, he was a big football guy, very athletic guy, just naturally. But he was always like, Luke, we're gonna get you playing soccer. You have no disadvantage in soccer. Like, use your feet. Like, it'll be good. And the one year I played soccer, I decided to try goalie. I don't know why. I don't know if I just didn't, I wanted to make it hard on myself. I'm not sure. So, I mean, I tried soccer, but I'm not a big runner. It's all right. It's okay. But if I'm just not chasing something around, it's not for me. So tried soccer, was like, nope, not going to do that. Older brother played football. Not interested in anyone hitting me anytime soon. Never have been, probably never will be. So didn't try football, but I saw a brother play and was like, no, not into that one. And I don't know what happened, but I really, really, really fell in love quickly with baseball. And if you're talking about sports that someone's at a disadvantage to have one arm to play, I feel like that's the one right there. And for some reason, I got addicted to it. And I don't know if it was the trial and error of trying to figure out how to do it, make it happen. But I fell in love with baseball, and started playing that one T-ball age, then all the way up through college. So baseball was for sure my sport. And swimming, I actually surprisingly am an okay swimmer. If we're talking speed, not your guy, not running laps, but treading water, we're good. We're good.
Now, I'm going to date myself here because he's from my generation, but I don't know if when you were younger, Jim Abbott, obviously.
Jim Abbott, he's the man. I was number 20. I was number 25 growing up for that reason.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim's the guy for sure.
Yeah, played for the Angels, and I lived in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
He has a no-hitter on his record. You know this?
Yes.
If you Google it, or YouTube it, I should say, there's actually an entire YouTube video that is just the last at bat of his no-hitter.
Oh, trust me. He's got a pretty cool book out there. I've seen. If my memory serves me correctly, I read it when I was pretty young. I think like maybe 5th, 6th grade. I think it's unstoppable, if I'm remembering right. Maybe imperfect. Imperfect is the name. Sorry, Jim, if you ever see this, but I think it's called Imperfect. But he kind of goes through his childhood growing up in Michigan, playing for Michigan, the college, then the Olympic team, and then making it to the Yankees to throw that no hitter. So yeah, he's a cool dude. But
wasn't he on the Angels, or was he on the Yankees when he did the no hitter?
Yeah, he played for the Angels and the Yankees. He was on the Yankees when he threw the no hitter. But I will say, Jim's got a longer arm than me. I don't want to say he's cheating or anything, but if we're talking disadvantage, he's only missing the hand. He's got all the way to the wrist. So for him, I don't know. It seemed a little easier. I always wish mine was just a little longer like his, but we made it work.
Well, the thing too is that if you ever get a chance to watch video, when you watch it, it's obvious that his disability isn't going to have much effect on it, because he sticks the glove on his glove hand, and bunts and chops, and if the ball gets to you quick enough where you need the glove, then there's plenty of time to get the throw off. I mean, like, it is, all things considered, like where you want to play baseball, right? But you said, now I just kind of preface this with the lead into, you also played shortstop.
Yeah.
Was that the same as you wanted to play goalie in soccer? Like, you just wanted to challenge yourself?
I'm not sure. So surprisingly, I guess it was just a matter of, I wanted to prove to myself that I can do this. Like, I'm going to do it, and we're going to make it happen. And surprisingly, that was my strength, was fielding the ball. It was the transition that was the issue at first, but that transition became smooth, and then it was no problem from there. But I think it was just a matter of, hey, like, you can put me anywhere and I'm going to give it my best, and like, watch God work through me and see what we can do. But I think it was just a matter of, just proving to everyone, like, I can do no matter what you want me to, for sure.
And you were good enough that you went to college and played ball in college. Scholarship?
So Division III is all academic. So no athletic scholarship, but good academic scholarship. And that's kind of what took me to Wittenberg, for sure.
And you played there for a couple of years?
Yep, freshman and sophomore year, decided to play.
And what were your stats like there? You said you were a middle reliever.
Yeah, if we're talking freshman year, I did all right, for sure. You can look it up. I think I had a decent ERA and things like that. But sophomore year, oh man, it was brutal. I can remember, this is going to be a random story, but so coach, I had a really good fall. Like, how you do fall ball and spring ball and things like that.
Yeah.
I tell this story to everybody. I'm not embarrassed about it. But coach was like, hey, man, you've had a really good fall. As soon as we get a chance to put middle relief in, like, you're the guy. Like, we're going to put you in. And I was like, all right, coach, I won't let you down. And happened in a game. We're playing against Earlham. And all my buddies, still talking about buddies giving me a hard time. This is one that comes up a lot. Coach calls me out and was like, Campbell, you're up. And so I go on out there, warm up, whatever. First pitch, I hit the first batter. Second pitch, I hit the second batter. Third pitch, I hit the third batter. And so bases are loaded at this point. Middle relief, this is like your number one job. Like, don't put people on base. And so bases are loaded. I'm like, I'm just going to throw it low. I'm not going to hit him. I'm just going to throw it low. And I throw it low. Dude tees it almost off a bounce. Like, it was a terrible pitch. Off a bounce, hits it, dings the foul pole, grand slam. And I was like, like, you got to be kidding me. So playing time after that was hard to come by. But if we're talking freshman year, I did all right.
Now, did you ever play the disability card when those situations? I mean, this doesn't affect me at all, doesn't get in the way, and then as soon as he hits the grand slam, you're like, you know what? Look. If
I had that extra thumb, man, I wish I probably should at some point, because it was really bad, but I don't think it had anything to do with having one or two arms. It's just not my day. And that happens to everybody, especially disc golf, for sure.
For sure. Hey, I'm gonna give you a quick embarrassing baseball story now. we'll swap we'll swap
Please,
stories.
make me feel better.
So I played it at the high school level, and I was awesome. Like I was one of the top pitchers around in northern Los Angeles. I mean, I was really, really good. And then I moved on and I started to play in this semi-pro league, which is the one level past college, right? It's probably the same as probably single A level. But when you go from high school to that level, as you know, same as going to college, only like 2% of players move on, and like everybody's good.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was really good at the high school level. And when I went into the semi-pro league, they said, yeah, you're going to play first base. I'm like, I'm a pitcher. And they're like, no, you're not. And I said, and I was throwing like mid 80s. Like, I mean, I wasn't throwing like super soft, but no movement.
Mm.
You know, mid 80s with no movement at that level is batting practice.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to the coach, but I'm a pitcher. And he literally says to me, but you're not.
Yeah, if it's straight down the middle, those boys at the next level will humble you really quick, and I learned that fast too, for sure.
Well, I threw a pitch in a competitive game at that level, so you granted, I also didn't hit anybody and give up a grand slam, but
yeah.
I wasn't given the opportunity. All right, so now you're out of college, you're teaching. What grade are you teaching?
Third grade.
Okay, I have to know, how do you open up the dialogue? Or does everybody know because they were in the same school in the second grade? Like, how does that introduction happen?
Yeah, so this is actually my first year teaching altogether. So, and this is my first year in Nashville right now. So new to the school, new to the kids. So that dialogue was definitely open. I kind of prefaced it we send like teacher letters home. So I kind of preface like, hey, I was born with one arm. Like my goal in life is to reach kids of all abilities and show them like, no matter what you look like, what's going on, we can kind of accomplish things together. And my slogan was like, you can move mountains is like kind of the theme of my classroom and things like that. It's hard to come up with a boy theme for a third grade classroom. Everything's pretty girly. So I went with like a camp mountain theme. And so the theme of my classroom is like, you can move mountains is kind of what we preach in my room. But yeah, dialogue was definitely open. Big poster of Jim Abbott in my room, playing for the Angels. But first day, we kind of just took some time set aside and it's like, all right, guys, you have any questions? Like, you have any, like, what do you want to know? And the first question wasn't never about the arm. Everything was, so like, how hard did you throw in baseball? How, like all the boys just wanted to know, like what, they didn't even care. They know,
Right.
like, they're like, you were just born that way, right? Yeah. Okay. So how hard did you throw? Like, I was like, all right, I guess the conversation's over. But the third graders adapted pretty quick for sure. They got used to me. Definitely.
Well, how hard did you throw? I wanted to know too.
That's a good question. Nothing impressive. I was peaking 80, 81. I threw, so like, unlike you, everything I had a little spin for sure. So, cause I wasn't going to blow it past you. So it had to have cut, screw to it or something to get it to slide by.
Gotcha. I mean, Greg Maddux didn't throw that hard, or Dennis Eckersley. I mean, a lot of players, they managed to get away with not throwing hard. Not me.
Not me either, bro. Not me either.
One last question before we get to disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about people referring to you as inspirational? Is that a compliment, or is it like, give me a break? I'm just a guy. Like, I'm not. How do you feel about it?
I actually read the other day, someone that I follow on Instagram is a Paralympic athlete. She has one arm and she's a skier. But she posted something that said, people with disabilities do not exist to inspire people without. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. I never really thought about it that way. But I feel like our narrative isn't to inspire people that don't have disabilities. It's kind of the opposite. It's to show people that do have disabilities, like, it's worth putting yourself out there because we're just like everybody else. But to say the word inspire, it does sound, it sounds weird because to me, for me, I was born this way. So I just kind of do my thing and hope that it goes well. But I try to act as Christ-like as possible. And the word inspiring is very humbling at times, and it keeps me honest for sure. But inspiring is it's a heavy word. It puts some pressure on your actions.
As soon as we are done with the podcast, I'll tell you a quick story. I don't want to repeat it here because this isn't about me. And I talked about it on my special needs episode.
Okay.
But I'll share with you later. Okay.
Sounds
So
good.
your life has been empty, without meaning, and in a void because you hadn't played disc golf yet. I think that's what I'm hearing. At least that's what I hear in my brain. So tell me about disc golf. Had you heard of it before and played, or did you just discover it after college? Or tell me your story.
Yeah. So sophomore year of college, after I stopped playing, I don't want to say I kind of did go through an identity crisis. I was the athletic one-armed kid. Like that's how I fit in. And it was, I mean, like we talked about girls and things like that. Like I was the one-arm guy, but it's cool. He plays sports. Like, oh, okay. So for me, without that, it's like you're just one-arm Luke now. You're not an athlete. You're not the college baseball player. And it was tough. I was like, I'm not sure. I don't know what to do with myself right now. I didn't know what to do at all. Because I mean, college sports, you're wake up at 5 a.m., lift, do this, do that, all done now. And like, so it was weird. But Wittenberg actually, my buddy got me a disc that he'd played in high school and things. His name's Lincoln. And he got me a disc with the Wittenberg logo on it. It was like, hey man, like Merry Christmas. Like, here's a disc. Like if you want to play, like, I know Wittenberg has a course. It's like, oh, okay. Like, thanks, man. Sure. And after sophomore year, me and a couple of friends, I mean, we would go and I had one disc. I think it was an Innova. It's Excalibur. It was like a driver. I had one driver, and we would go and we would all share it. We'd throw. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. We would throw, putt with it, do anything, and just go play, just to have something to do. And then once I graduated, moved down here to Nashville. I actually fiance's in Ohio right now. So right now, I'm working here and she's working in Ohio. We're going to meet after this year in Ohio. So right now, on my own, nothing to do. It's like, I liked playing disc golf in college when I had free time. Like, I'll give it a try. So I bought a putter and some other things and went out and started playing. And I actually ran into a guy, his name's Blake Waldron. He's sponsored by Prodigy. He's on one of their touring teams. And I had no idea. I didn't even know what that meant. But he was like, hey, you want to play with me? We were both by ourselves. And he sees me throw once and he's like, you played sports, right? I was like, yeah. I played sports. I was like, but I don't really know what I'm doing. He's like, I can tell. Like, and he kind of showed me like what to do. But he never once mentioned that he was sponsored or anything. He was just being a nice guy. And then we ran into each other later and he was decked out in Prodigy gear. And I'd been looking into disc golf at this point. I'm like, what? Why didn't you tell me you were sponsored? He's like, I didn't want to I don't know. I didn't want to make it weird or anything. And so I learned a lot from him and he got me hooked pretty quickly. But so I started playing in August. After that, it was a couple short months and I decided I'm going to play in a tournament and see what happens. Like, just something to fill the competitive void and just being out of college baseball. And I got addicted. I finished 5th at the first tournament I played in, played an intermediate. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what the levels meant, but I played, finished 5th it was a half day. Like, a first round was at one course, first round was another. And so it was first round at Barfield and second round at Sharp Springs, and ended up shooting +1 on the day. And that was my first tournament experience. And since then I've been playing a lot, to say the least.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's the same story everybody has about getting into the sport. I mean, it's just fun. But you're right about the competitive part. You know, first off, you can play intermediate until you play advanced, and then advanced to pro. I mean, assuming you keep playing, and then eventually, when you age out, there's age divisions, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you from teaching. I mean, I teach more than anyone. Like I've done 1,200 private lessons in the last 3 years, in addition to, clinics and books and all that stuff. The easiest and the quickest transition from somebody playing a sport to getting good at disc golf is baseball to disc golf, hands down. Quicker than ultimate, even though that would seem like a more natural transition, it's not. Baseball players like that pick it up. Sidearms, if you threw 80 miles an hour with a sidearm, you have a 500-foot sidearm in your arm. Like it's not right. We got to learn the right form and everything, but I mean that.
Yeah, definitely.
That. So yeah, if you get into disc golf, like you are in a good position to get, and you're still young too. You're not starting at 50 or 70. You're like you could take this sport serious and get good quickly.
Yeah, definitely set out a plan to hopefully take disc golf more seriously. I'm on the Prodigy Street team now that I've started picking it up and playing a lot more.
Beautiful.
Sponsored by Gravity Disc Golf. Hit up Gravity Disc Golf. They're the best. Sweet store for sure. But kind of set out a 3-year plan of this is my trial year. Try it out, go to as many tournaments as possible, kind of do the Emerson Keith and go to 70 tournaments hopefully and see what I can make happen. And next summer, I'm going to try to play in several A tiers, and teachers have summers off. So it's like the best gig ever. Going to try to actually tour a little bit next summer. So definitely looking forward to maybe showing up at a Am Worlds or something like that next summer.
That's beautiful. And Prodigy's a great company. I know all the people out there. Actually, I just, 3 days ago, went out to dinner with the head of production at Prodigy.
Oh, sweet.
He came out to a clinic I was running in, it's all blurs together, right? I think it was Greenville.
Okay.
Brought his daughter out. She's really good. Really, really good. So you're throwing Prodigy discs.
Yes,
You're competing.
sir.
Are you throwing backhand and sidearm?
Yes, sir.
Like 50-50 even?
I would say 50-50. The forearm comes definitely more naturally, but the backhand worked on it a lot. And the D1s that Prodigy make are just like, they're perfect for, if you have a good arm speed, they fly super straight. And that's kind of what I've been throwing a lot of, definitely.
How far are you throwing the sidearm after 6 months of playing or 5 months of playing, but as a college baseball player, how far is your sidearm going? If you get a hold of one.
Have I gotten a hole in one? Is that what you said?
Oh, if you really get a hold of a sidearm, how far?
Oh, if I really get a hold of it. I've tried the UDisc distance measuring thing, and I can put it about like 390, 400, like if I'm really putting enough behind it. I think right now the issue is getting too down, not getting it flat. So I've been working on trying to keep it flat out of the hand, or even hyzer flipping up to get that good distance and S out of it. But the whip is there. It's just figuring out how to minimize all the movement for sure.
Gotcha. That's really far after 6 months. That's going to make some people angry. You're going to be losing fans as we speak.
I'm sorry.
Like any 15-year-old kid that throws 500 feet, I just don't like. That's it.
Well, I don't throw that far, so we can still be friends.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You're also an adult. If you're 50 years old and you throw 500 feet, I don't care how polite and respectful you are. I dislike you. That's just it.
There's a local Nashville legend. His name's Caleb. He's every bit of 13. He's like 1,000 rated. He's again, nicest kid you'll ever meet. It's like, it's hard. It's like you don't want to get beat by the 13-year-old, but he's so good, so good.
No, I'm totally kidding. There was a 15-year-old kid at Greenville that threw 500 feet. Cool kid. Totally joking. Don't get mad at me, parents of 15-year-old, like everybody. So your plan is to tour, but aside from disc golf, but probably including disc golf, you were started an organization or a part of an organization. Tell me about what you're doing.
Yeah. So before I graduated, with all that free time after stopping to play baseball in college, I decided my passion is to work with kids with disabilities. I'm actually licensed to teach special ed, but the way COVID worked out and things like that, third grade was where I ended up, and I'm really happy to be there. But passion is definitely working with kids with disabilities or people of all abilities. So with the downtime that I had in college, I decided, you know what, I want to start something that gives people of all ability levels, no matter where you're at, the opportunity to participate in some form or fashion of athletics. And so that's my dream right now, is to start doing that more often. I actually started the organization right before COVID. It's called Overcome Disabilities. And if you check out my Instagram, that page is linked, and sold a bunch of bracelets with a logo that I designed and some stickers and t-shirts, and actually ran some dodgeball fundraisers and things like that. And raised well over $4,000 right before COVID hit to donate to organizations that also support limb difference and just adaptive technology for athletes. But with COVID, it's really hard to get a group together right now. And that's kind of my main goal, is to get people together, to meet people that look like you and look like me, so that's kind of been difficult. But my goal in the future is with Overcome to just bring people together, to meet people that look like them and hang out and participate in some form or fashion of athletics. And I know that looks different for everyone, but that's kind of what we're looking to do, is give an athletic experience to everyone. Because to be honest with you, without athletics, I'm not sure where I'd be. My confidence definitely wouldn't be where it's at. I would still be hiding in my shell somewhere doing something. But baseball and sports brought this one-armed kid out of his shell. And so I want to give that same feeling and experience to anyone that is willing to give it a try.
What about parents that want to protect their kids? When the kids come to them, when the kid with one leg comes to his dad and says, I want to play basketball. What do you tell the parent that wants to protect their kid with the best intention in the world, obviously? What do you say to that parent?
Yeah, and I would actually direct them to an organization that I have modeled kind of all my dreams after, and I got involved with them in high school. Miracle League Baseball. Look it up. Look how they do what they do on the field. The field is designed for safety. It's like a rubber baseball field, so people with wheelchairs, prosthetics, all people can participate. And a lot of volunteers come through to ensure the safety of each and every player. So basically the way it works, if you're unfamiliar with Miracle League, when you show up, if you're a volunteer, you're assigned like, hey, this is your buddy for the day. And so me and my buddy, we're going to play first, or you and your buddy are going to play second. We're going to play third. And it's kind of like a coach pitch game of just out there having fun. And if they're worried about safety, I would say watch those videos and watch how they handle the precaution there. But I mean, I don't want to say, I probably wouldn't say this to them, but it's worth it to give it a try. Even if it ends up with you falling or something going wrong, it's worth the try. The excitement and the joy that come from athletics. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but just the kick from playing sports and even disc golfing is just something that you can't replicate elsewhere.
Is the thing you didn't want to say, hey, guess what, parent? Your kid's going to get hurt. It's sports. They're kids. Is that kind of is that what you were avoiding?
You know, as a teacher, you learn to stay pretty neutral when talking to parents. So I guess yes, I was flirting with that line, but
No, I get it. No, I don't have to stay neutral. Parents, your kids are going to get hurt.
there you
You
go.
know, it's fine. What about the kid that either doesn't want to play in the adaptive league or loves the adaptive league because that's where their friends are, but also wants to play at school with the other kids?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
no, sorry. There's nothing to tell that kid. That kid just has spirit and is brave and like that kid doesn't need to be told anything. But what
exactly. Yeah.
wants to not allow that because there's this league over here for him or her.
Yeah. So I think overcome what if we can get, I don't know when we'll be able to ever meet in big groups again, but if we're able to ever run an event like that, I would say overcome the whole goal is for a kid like you mentioned who's maybe like not into the league or kind of they're struggling with their confidence is just to hang out and have fun and get that confidence piece to where they're now confident enough to where, okay, I tried it with people like with the same ability as me. And now I'm confident enough to go try it in another league. And if that's their goal, awesome. That's cool. I always played in leagues where I was the only child with an adaptive need for sure. So if that's the goal, I mean, great. But I think what we're looking to do is get that confidence, like you said, to go out and participate in athletics with the confidence you need. And so, I mean, for some, the dream of playing in the major league, even for me, I mean, that was never in the cards for me. You know what I mean? Like I loved playing. I loved playing in college, but I knew where my talents ended. And so I think it's important to stay realistic with some of our goals, but I think, um, you know, it's just important to get people together and friends together of all abilities to play this sport together. So that's kind of what I'd tell them is just we're meeting to build confidence. And if you're ready to go play, go play.
We're going to put links to everything related to your organization. And would they be getting a hold of you directly, or are there other people involved, other volunteers yet?
Yeah, I've had a ton of people reach out saying they're ready to go whenever the need is there. But right now, they would be directing me just solely just that's my email address and things like that. But volunteers are always needed. If we can ever get an event off the ground, then yes, it will be more than just me. But for right now, you were talking to me and me alone and getting this organization going.
I mean, that's where it has to start, right?
Definitely.
I actually was doing a lesson. It was about 10 months ago in Knoxville for a guy, and his wife was active in a camp for kids who were missing limbs. It was just a summer program, and then she came out specifically to talk to me about adaptive disc golf because she wanted to introduce disc golf. And then she came out with a kid who had been to that camp multiple times, who I ironically also had one arm. By the way, I first thing I said was, "Is that your left arm, man?" Anyways, that one wasn't as funny because he's like, "Yeah, I've heard that before." He rolled
Heard that 100 times.
So I thought it was clever, but sometimes it misses. But anyways, he came out, and she came out as well about this camp, and the kids there were missing between 1 and 4 limbs. So there was complete range. So it wasn't just a camp for sports; it was a camp for everything.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would be thinking about eventually doing, like having camps or gatherings and events as well, or is it just fundraising, or what's the big picture? Like, how do you picture it in 5 years?
Yeah, big picture goal. I'm not opposed to a stay away camp to where there's some athletic events involved, but there's also just a matter of let's all hang out and do something. You know, whether it's like a summer camp or something like that. Um, that kind of does sound like the big goal. At one point, I kind of thought too of like just like you do, traveling and bringing this to as many people as are willing to listen and come and enjoy athletics in any form or fashion that they're able to participate. But I would say big goal. I definitely would be interested in pursuing something like that, but just running small, maybe 1-2 day camps would be more in my like wheelhouse, I would say for sure. But I mean, big picture, yeah, let's get an overcome camp going.
And if someone wants to get involved in what you're doing, they just reach out to you and say, I want to help. What can I do?
Yeah, there's links on the Overcome. If you go to my Instagram, and we can attach that or whatever, the links are in my bio to go directly to the Overcome website. There's a website up and going, or you can message the Overcome Disability Instagram. But yeah, message me on Instagram, email me, let me know how you're interested, or if you have, a story to tell, anything like that. Yeah, let me know, and we can make something happen. So definitely reach out through Instagram and email.
I love it. Hey, there's an organization up in Michigan called Diversified Disc Golf. Are
Okay.
you familiar with them?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I become a big fan of what they're doing because they've avoided politics and all this stuff that makes something good, something shitty really quickly. But the diversify part is try to encompass everything, every different group of anything except, I was going to say other than like white males, but let's say other than white males with all four limbs, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's just, it's not that our sport isn't the most receptive sport in the world to everybody. It is, but their goal is I think it's more about outreach to let people know how cool we are.
Exactly.
Also, the PDJ is, they just had a page on their website about this as well. So they're actually putting emphasis and focus on this as well. So I think those two organizations, if you reached out to them, would be an asset. So, the more people that are on your side, the better. I've found with my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so, short-term goals for sure. Just being involved in a school is to get some after-school program involved, to where kids can show up, learn how to putt and things like that, and do anything that we can do to make that happen. I've got a bunch of practice baskets ready to go whenever I get the go ahead that we're allowed to do after-school programs. But
eventually,
that's the short-term goal. But yeah, if there's a way to get PDGA involved, or any other organization involved to bring people together to play disc golf, any form of athletics while learning about each other, that's the goal for sure.
That's brilliant. I love it. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't. Make sure you follow Living Discabled. I thought that was so clever. My Instagram name. I don't know. I'm working on it. But Living Discabled on Instagram. If you want to see some content of a one-armed guy throwing discs around and hopefully winning some tournaments sometime soon. But yeah, that's about all I got.
So let me give you, before I sign off, do you mind if I judge you for a second?
Please.
Okay. Your biggest asset isn't that you played college baseball. It is your smile and your laughter and your attitude. The idea that we're having this conversation. This is not a heavy conversation. This is a fun, light conversation. We're making jokes. You're happy, positive. Like, I think that is going to be your number one asset. So I think you're a perfect person to be representing what you're trying to do as your own spokesperson.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, it's obvious. Like, I think attitude is infectious, positive or negative. And a positive attitude, when it's infectious, is the best thing you can do in the world for everything. So yeah, I think you're going to kill it if you just keep on it. So don't get tired of disc golf. We could use you.
My wife's not my wife. My fiance is actually concerned that she'll never see me in the summer again. Now that I have summers off to disc golf, she's like, "Are you ever going to be around?" I'm like, "Disc golf's pretty important, pretty important right now." So, but
we'll see. Monday through Wednesday. Thursday it's training for the weekend.
Yeah, Thursday's practice round for big tournaments. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, there you go. Is she gonna watch? Do you want me to edit that part out?
Yeah, probably smart. She doesn't need to hear that.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Luke Campbell, all the links and everything will be on the page, and just keep doing what you're doing. And as soon as I post this, you'll certainly be contacted by other people that in my world that are doing things like you're doing, and networking with them is going to be great. And so I wish you the best of luck, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Awesome. All right, you guys. So this has been fantastic. Thank you for tuning in. Check out the other podcasts. We're going to be talking to interesting people. Some of them are going to be 1040 rated disc golfers. Others are going to work in artificial intelligence, and they're going to invent stupid things we don't need. And I don't know. We're going to be talking to everybody. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Hey everyone, I'm now on Patreon. Click the link below. Not only keep the free content coming with tutorials, tips, podcasts, etc., but get a bunch of free stuff like live stream Q&As, copy of my book, voting on topics, behind the scenes, bunch of cool stuff. Click the link down below to join.